us can agree that we have a pretty decent life. And I don't know how many of you take time out of your day to think about how much you have to be grateful for. I think we all need to work on never being ungrateful for what we have, because for all any of us know, someone's literally dying to just live a day in the life that we do. My story is, in my 4-H club in November of 2012 decided that we wanted to go on a service trip to help the homeless. We decided to take the Urban Plunge in Omaha, Nebraska. The Urban Plunge is a faith-based organization that you go for one weekend. You start on Friday at 4 o'clock and you're done Sunday at noon to come home. Since it is a faith-based organization, we all kind of thought we were a little iffy about going because we were a 4-H club, we weren't a church group. We all thought about it. We all went to church, so we were all from different churches, but we were all Christians, so we were all fine with it. When we first got to Omaha, we were all pretty nervous because it was our first service trip, and I'm not going to lie, we were in the ghetto of Omaha. So the first stop we made, we went to Sobey Ranch, which is a ranch that 2 people have opened with all their own money. They were both abused children when they were younger, and as they grew up with an animal that really helped them get through. So they use animal therapy to help people. So they have around 75 animals that people call and set up therapy appointments, and they just basically go and sit in a pasture with the animals, and the animals like soothe them, or they'll go and hang out with their cats in the barn and play with cats for hours on end. The next place we went, on the Saturday morning, we went to a food pantry and a consignment shop where people can come. They have little vouchers that they can come once a month, and they can get like 2 new t-shirts, they can get a new pair of pants in the wintertime. If they don't have a winter coat that fits, they can come and get a winter coat for free. And at the food pantry, they can also come every 2 weeks and restock on food. That was really interesting. There was we never really realized how many kids were in poverty until we were at the consignment shop, and there was people lined up around the block waiting to get their kid a winter coat. Later that day, we went to a men's homeless shelter, and a lot of people think homeless people are like bad, I don't know, they're dirty, gross, whatever. All the homeless people really want to do is have a conversation with you. At the men's shelter, we served nachos and hot chocolate to the men who were homeless, and we stood outside in 20-degree weather and talked to these guys for over 2 hours just because they wanted to tell us their stories. Those are the 3 main places when we were in Omaha that I really enjoyed. On our way home that Sunday, we decided that we needed to find another way. We were constantly thinking about what we were going to do next. So we decided, if there's that many homeless people just 4 hours away from us, like, how many people are there in the world that are homeless? So a lot of you probably didn't know, in the United States there's over 1,750,000 homeless people. In Iowa alone, there's 16,500, and Iowa ranks 11th in child homelessness in the nation. So at our follow-up meeting, we were looking on the Urban Plunge website, and we saw that they had just recently added the Des Moines Urban Plunge. So we decided that we were going to start fundraising again to raise money to go. Because the first time when we went to Omaha, we all paid our own way there. We paid everything. So we started fundraising probably last June around fair time. We fundraised at the fair, and we've been fundraising since. So this March 11th through the 13th, I went on the Des Moines Urban Plunge, and I wasn't nervous at all to go on this trip because, I don't know, a lot of the kids in my group were really nervous about going because they hadn't ever been on one, and the neighborhood that we were in, again, was not a good neighborhood. The first stop we went to was Seafoam Children Family Urban Ministries, which is a spot where people that are in poverty that are, say, working like weird shift jobs because they're working at fast food restaurants or nursing homes, for example, they go, their children, this church provides meals 3 times a day during the week, and on the weekends they provide food twice a day. So children can go as early as 6 o'clock in the morning to eat breakfast, and then it's open until 8 for them to eat breakfast. Then they walk across the street to their school, Then after school, there's the Seafoam Activity Center, where they go outside to the playground when it's nice out, and they all play outside till 5 o'clock when it's dinner time, and they can get help on their homework too if they have homework. They can't go outside till their homework's all done. And then they can go and eat dinner, and dinner's open from 5 to 6. And then on Fridays, they have Friday fun nights, and the children can stay till 8. So those kids can be there from as early as 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night with not seeing their parents. And a lot of the parents, we were there on that Friday night, a lot of parents would come and eat dinner and just tell their kids that they were staying, and they'd be back at 8 o'clock to pick them up. So I don't think any of us really realize how much our parents are there, or how much we see our parents compared to these children. When we first got to that Seafoam ministry, we weren't even there a minute before the kids just run up and they were just saying which one, they were all calling dibs on us of which ones they got to play with. So that was pretty interesting. And they were all over the boys in our group because a lot of them don't have a male figure in their life. They just have a mother. So when they saw two of the older boys in our group, all the little boys just instantly ran with them and wanted to play football with them and soccer and dodgeball. On Saturday morning, we went to the JAPA cleanup, which JAPA is an organization that helps the homeless, and they go out to the people's tents in the woods or under the bridges to their little homes that they have set up. And they, on Sunday afternoons, they go out. They can tell the JAPA people what they're in need of this week. And so then the JAPA comes out on Tuesdays and delivers what they were in need of. So we went and did that. It was their spring cleanup. So we were down in the woods in Des Moines, and we were also under a bridge. And when we were under a bridge, there was actually a man living under the bridge, and he had left earlier that morning because he knew we were coming to help clean up. So we helped clean up his area a little bit, because if their area gets too dirty, then the police come in and basically destroy their area and tell them they have to leave. So we did that, and we left him some shampoos and soaps and deodorant and some food, and we left him a note saying that we hope that his life is turning around for him and stuff. After that, we went to Connections Cafe, which a lot of you know where the Marriott is in downtown Des Moines. So you think a great, nice Marriott. Connections Cafe it's a place where homeless people can go and eat lunch and supper every single day of the week. It's kitty corner from the Marriott, so a lot of you think there's those parking ramps right across the Marriott. Connections Cafe is underneath the parking ramps. So we went and ate with a lot of those people and just talked to them for a couple hours. When we were at Connections Cafe, there was a woman speaker there. Her name was Sue. She used to work at the Wells Fargo building. She was a sales representative, and when they laid people off 30 years ago, her position got cut, and she had 2 kids in school that she was paying for to go to school. She couldn't afford to keep up with herself anymore, so she became homeless for 10 years. And she really told us the struggles of being a homeless woman, especially homeless women. It's a lot dangerous. It's way more dangerous to be a homeless woman than to be a homeless man, because women get robbed, they get raped, they get beat, because they aren't as strong and aren't as protective of themselves over men. After we talked to her, we went to the Central Iowa Shelter Services, where a man named Ken talked to us about when he was younger, he was in a lot of trouble with the law. He was running from the law for a long time. He was homeless. He had nowhere to go. So now he opened up his own shelter in downtown Des Moines, and they have 150 male beds and 50 female beds, and they also have a veterans program, which if people have been there for 90 days and they've proven that they can stay out of trouble, then they get put on the veterans program, which means that you have to stay completely sober, no drugs or alcohol for 2 years. You have to be working with your social worker, and you have to be having a job, and you have to be saving at least 20 or 50% of your income. So that was the Central Iowa Shelter Services. That was my favorite stop overall. After that, we went and visited Kingston. He's a little boy that has special needs. He was born with a charge syndrome, which is you only have a few out of your 5 senses. Well, Kingston, the only sense he has is he can only feel. We talked with his family a lot. His mom, she makes bracelets. They're leather bracelets. I don't have mine on today. They're just like these bracelets, except they have Braille in them, and because he can read Braille, and then he speaks with sign language. That's how she helps raise money to pay his medical bills, because they aren't a very, they aren't a high-class family, you could say. So she does that, and his little brother Jackson, he's 7 years old, and he's so proud of his brother Kingston that they go to rock concerts when they come to Des Moines, and they have permission. Jackson, he gets up on stage and talks in front of thousands of people about his brother Kingston and about his charge syndrome that he has. After that, we went to a lot of different churches and saw how the different churches work in Des Moines, since it was a faith-based church or trip. If one thing I learned throughout this trip, every single homeless person that you would talk to would say you need an education. If you don't have an education, you're not going to get anywhere. At least half of the people that we talked to that were homeless don't have an education. That's why they aren't getting anywhere. If you don't have an education, you can't get a job. If you can't get a job, you don't have any money. If anyone ever has the chance to go on a service trip, I would highly recommend it. It'll be an experience that you won't ever regret. And now, hearing about this, we can all agree that hearing about their lives, we have a decent one, and we need to think more about how much we have to be grateful for, and don't ever be ungrateful for what you have, because these people are literally dying to live a day in the life you have.